everyone. Spiritual warfare, Hinduism versus Christianity. Now, I'm not talking about warfare in regards to military, in regards to soldiers with guns, with knives. I'm not talking about tanks, artillery, aircraft, bombs. I'm not talking about warfare on a physical battle plane. I'm not talking about air combat or all the combat in between. I'm not even talking about martial arts, self-defense. I'm talking about warfare on the spiritual plane. Now, what do I mean by spiritual plane? I mean, that can mean a lot of different things, but to be more specific, the astral plane. And my time in Christianity and my studies of Christianity, and many different sects and different authors, including even Origen going way back. Of course, he is declared a heretic. I've studied a few different things like the different conferences of Constantinople, and I've gotten into Gnosticism as well. And throughout all this time, and even now studying Christianity, I found so little information on how to defend oneself spiritually, how to defend one's astral body. Now, in Christianity, in modern day Christianity, it might as well not even exist, the astral body. I mean, there's just so little information and interest in it, and even the Christians who believe in an astral body, they don't seem to have the means to defend the astral body. There isn't a lot of defense mechanisms beyond prayer, beyond reading the Bible, beyond group prayer, group psalms, singing, beyond leaving your spiritual and defensive well-being up to God, relying completely on mercy, not taking any responsibility for protecting yourself spiritually. You say, okay, God will take care of it, but if you take no responsibility for your spiritual well-being, your existence beyond this world that is not material, because we exist there now. It's not about we'll exist in the future. We have a body that exists in the astral realm, and in Christianity you can call it other things, but you can even call it maybe heaven or hell. We have a body that is either blinking slowly into existence in heaven or hell, or a kind of a combination of the two. Because I use heaven and hell examples because there's not a lot of information on different dimensions or magnitudes in between heaven and hell in modern day Christianity. But that being said, in Hinduism, I found so many different defensive mechanisms, whether it be mantras, whether it be spiritual meditation, whether it be, and you can focus all this on defending your astral body, whether it be different kinds of magics, and that's magic with Magick, not Magic. Magic in regard to your personal power associated with your particular soul. Now, and there is also other things like appealing to certain gods and goddesses, different parts of the one God. As I think of different gods and goddesses, a lot of Hindus think that all these everything's a part of God, like I do, and that the different gods are kind of like different functions of the one God, and appealing to those different deities, working with the angels. A lot of the time in Hinduism, a lot of people still call them angels, kind of use that term if you speak English, but they're called suras. Not pronouncing it great. The Sanskrit version of angels is suras, and demons is asuras. But there's quite a few different kinds of yogic techniques in regards to strengthening your spine, strengthening each chakra along your spine, making your defense of your all your different bodies in this plane, the astral plane, causal realm, and in all those different realms. The last one is the sphere beyond creation. But once you reach there, you've merged with infinity. But in all these different basic planes, and there's a lot of different dimensions surrounding them, there are ways to defend yourself in those places, because we still exist in those places right now, by strengthening your spine, the energy along your spine, raising your kundalini, strengthening each chakra with that energy, with the kundalini energy. And then we do have spells in Hinduism, but the word spell kind of goes with Western magic more than Hinduism, so I don't really use it a whole lot. But I do use the term kind of spiritual action. I think of spells as more of an action than like something that's separate from oneself. You are putting it, those spells become a part of you. You're extending yourself, and you can use candles. You can use different powders. You can offer to different deities. You can direct your aura and harden it in different ways as well. But I could get into each one of these topics, but really I'm just trying to make the point that there are so many different defensive mechanisms for your spiritual body. And we're not talking about the material body. You won't see anything different on your material body, but you will feel it on your spiritual body, your astral body. And for those who practice astral projection, which is even Tantra sometimes. I don't really practice Tantra in the sense that most people think of it as. But even for those, there's a lot of people that astral project in Hinduism. For those people, your astral body is very much a part of you. You feel it. I feel my astral body for other reasons, but astral projection is a great boost to awareness, perception, and the ability to defend yourself in the astral realm, which directly affects your material body here in regard to emotion, intellect, your ability to carry out things in this world, your fulfillment spiritually and materially. Your astral body can also, if it damaged, you can become insane in this world. Your brain chemistry can fluctuate. So it's very important to have defensive mechanisms. In Hinduism, there's so many different ways that you can defend your astral body, but in Christianity, it's really relying on God, relying on the angels, relying on prayer and priests to defend you, when a lot of the time the prayers aren't directed in that way to defend the individual, and the priests they basically aren't equipped, and they don't really practice defensive techniques for their congregations. So it's very important for you to develop the ability personally to defend your astral body. And in Hinduism, there are so many different ways to do that. In Christianity, most people are woefully unprepared for spiritual defense. And those exorcisms. Exorcism is like dealing with a disease once you have it, and it's kind of like chemotherapy. You're going to lose a lot of yourself when you participate in exorcism, when you're being exorcised. But that's another topic. I'd have to say that the best sources, I'm being very vague here on purpose because I'm just summarizing things. Western magic and Eastern practices. I wouldn't even call it magic, but practices. Whether it be even Taoist. Taoism, I wish there was more information on that because that is a great source. The Tao Te Ching, of course, is connected to Taoism, and the herbal remedies, and Reiki is very similar. Energy practices will give you great strength to protect yourself on the astral realm, thereby protecting yourself here. And of course, Hinduism, like I said, there's many practices. I named a lot of them. There's a lot of Buddhist mantras and meditative states that can help defend you karmically and energetically against the forces of illusion, the forces of Mara in Buddhism. That's kind of like the name for Maya in Hinduism, and Satan in Christianity, and the Abrahamic religions, of course. We also have, it's so hard to just put a cap on what's a part of Hinduism, because Hindus think that you can get closer towards God through many paths. I mean, there's many different kinds of yoga just in Hinduism, that different paths to God. Hatha yoga is the one we know in the West, the physical one where the different stretches and kind of directions of energy. But that's actually considered by a lot of Hindus as a lesser yoga. There's Jnana yoga, which is knowledge yoga. There's Bhakti yoga, which is devotion yoga. Raja yoga deals with a lot of meditation. Kriya yoga, raising the energy along the spine to evolve yourself physically and spiritually. But those are just like the main paths that you can branch off and defend yourself through a whole bunch of different ways, and using the different kinds of yogas. I mean, there's not a big focus on spiritual defense in Hinduism, because we're very much aware of what we can do, and we can defend ourselves. So when somebody feels under spiritual threat, many Hindus are able to defend themselves without, really making it a focus in their lives. I'm just making generalizations here. there's no one type of Hindu, of course. Now, I actually feel sorry for a lot of Christians because of the fact that so many are, like I said, woefully unprepared for spiritual assault when it comes to demons, when it comes to other human beings that direct negative energy towards them, when they encounter an illness in this world, in this material plane, which has an equivalency in the astral realm that you can protect yourself against there, which will have an effect on the disease here. You can call it, you can use light energy like through Reiki to heal yourself, or certain mantras and certain imagery and meditation and awareness of the energy throughout the body, focusing that to attack the ailment, get rid of it, because that is a form of spiritual assault. Is when you have a disease, there's an equivalency in the astral realm. Now, other ways somebody can attack you is if you have a magician or a some kind of spiritualist that is attacking you. They can cause all kinds of unlucky circumstances in your life. You can fail in a number of ways without even realizing you're under attack. But having a basic good defense spiritually in the astral realm specifically will allow you to deflect a lot of these attacks even if you're not aware of them. There's a certain spiritual energy that can shield you through certain practices, and I practice magic, and I do practice meditation, not as much as I should, and I practice bhakti, devotion yoga to the Divine Mother Kali Ma, as I worship God through, and the other gods and spirits that I work with, and I have certain connections to higher beings through something like bhakti yoga. I don't really refer to it as bhakti yoga, but I am devoted. I'm a devotee. I have protection in the sense that I'm constantly trying to increase my strength and defense in spiritual ways, whether it be spells, spiritual actions, whether they be basic creation of talismans, creating servitors, or just like basic things like offering ghee, burning incense, focusing my energy towards a certain goal within myself, raising the energy in my spine a certain way, reflecting on death. These are kind of my ways to combat any attacks that come at me. And even if I've had some, they haven't been strong, or I just haven't noticed them. Because I do have this protection, I have this strength that I've been mustering. Now, when it comes down to, okay, I'm Christian, I see this video, makes sense to me. How do I protect myself? Well, there's many ways to protect yourself in Christianity. It's just that Christians are unprepared because there hasn't been a focus on it in Christianity. Now, don't undervalue prayer. Prayer is very important. Don't disvalue meditation, because Christian meditation is very possible, very important. Don't devalue working with angels. Like, there's a lot of right-hand magicians that are Christian magicians, and they use ceremonial magic in order to protect themselves, raise their spiritual understanding and connection to God. Don't disvalue that. Look up white magic, look up the right-hand path, and Christian magic. Because you can definitely still be a Christian and protect yourself. So I'd highly recommend, if you're a Christian, to do that. And as well to my brothers and sisters in Hinduism. I view all of humanity as my brothers and sisters, but my brothers and sisters in Hinduism, most of the time they don't focus on it enough, even though there are ways to defend yourself. So I've just recommended a few things and kind of summarized certain areas in this video. So if you have certain questions that you want to ask, like specific questions, feel free to shoot them down there in the comment section. As long as you ask respectfully and don't just put a barrage of questions all at once, I am very likely to respond. I'm very interested in trying to help people defend themselves and increase spiritual awareness. Now, your allegiance to your soul and the dignity of your soul is very important. No matter what you believe, you have to gain a connection to it and realize what it can lead you towards ultimately. And usually it's away from the material realm. But whatever degree or magnitude you're doing that in, how intense you're trying to get away from the material and go towards a spiritual, closer to God, is your business. But whatever magnitude you're doing that in, and whatever religion you're a part of, I highly recommend that you learn to defend yourself spiritually. So, like I said, shoot questions down there. I'd love a like or two. And I do take video requests if there's some kind of video you want me to make on a certain topic. I am willing to do that. I cover a lot of different topics. I'm kind of a jack of all trades in spirituality. But hey, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the future. And you are valuable. Value yourself, protect yourself. Thank you very much for watching.